Kalimera, Kalispera, Kalinichta. Woo! No matter where in this wild, wacky, and always wonderful world you might be, thank you, grazie, evcharisto, prego, for making the Highbury Squad part of your day.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Not much to talk about, is there? I must have changed this thumbnail. Well, I didn't must have. I did change this thumbnail 5 times, literally. I mean, it was Gabrielle bowing down to Lewis Skelly. Then it was the redemption of Kai. And then I didn't even have time for the Waneri sucker punch. It was glorious. Let's talk about the greatest win ever at the Emirates. I don't care what anyone says. North London derbies. This is such a great moment. James Johnson joining me for the post-game show. Welcome, Bosh! Woohoo! Oh, God. Okay. Firstly, squaddies, at ease. Welcome back to Squad Central. I may be supersonic. I may be loud. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to begin at the beginning because I got this message. You tell me now you still defend Havertz. Go on, tell us. I had so many of these. Oh, God, unleash the beast that is me when it comes to stuff like that. I know it was terrible. It was awful. There was no defending it. I even said there was no defending it. But my goodness gracious, what a moment. James, okay, let me just rein myself in because I've got some footnotes for all the haters, okay? Without doubt for me, the greatest performance at the Emirates. Agree?
I'd say it's definitely up there.
Result.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely up there.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay, oh my God, I'm so excited. The youngsters, wow. Albrecht, evening all. Let's get some. My emotions are all over the place. The title race isn't over, people. That was a team today that said and showed all of the things that any of us have been doubting. That was an annihilation. Okay, it got a little squeaky bum at the end, the 20, 25 minutes in the first half. Haaland scores, and we're all fearing the worst. And I'm going to put my hands up and say, hi, I'm Sophie Nicolau, and I thought we were going to lose after Haaland scored that goal. And Tony said to me, have some faith. And I said, I have anxiety. That's what I have. I have little faith right now. And the PTSD kicks in. And then it was just an annihilation from there. Total dominance. The second half, I don't know what Mikel said to them at halftime. He earned his doubloons today. He earned his 15 million pay packet that everyone keeps complaining about. Kai Havertz, right? You can say what you want about him. It was a horrendous, horrific miss. It was awful. But that guy shows big balls, stayed in the game, worked so hard. James, just talk for a little bit. I'm going to shut up now. I need to have some more of my orange juice.
Well, if you want me to speak about Kai Havertz, I don't think you can sum him up better than this game. He is one of the most baffling footballers I've ever watched in my life. Because the pass for the first goal for Odegaard, I know he gets the assist, but let's get it right. It's a terrible pass. Like, thank God Odegaard's as good as he is to, scramble it and get it in, because the pass is shocking from him. and then his goal, after he misses, he could have picked any corner and he scores, and then he hits it as wide as that. And I'm just thinking to myself, what are we doing here? Time and time again, we've got another big team. like last year when we played Aston Villa at home and Trossard makes that miss when we could have got, or, you know, the one with Maddison where Jesus has it and he misses, and you're just like, what are we doing? Like, we're up against the biggest team and we need to be putting this away. And then he gets this chance in the second half where he's got two in between him and he just lasers it into the corner. Like, he is like I said, he's the most baffling footballer. But you summed it up the other day when we spoke. He never hides, Sophie. He will always be there, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. He's always there. And I think we'll probably touch on it a bit later on, so I'll rein myself in. But yeah, he is. He's always there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to this the team. One thing I really loved, and we'll get like the one negative thing out the way, right? And it was a negative. That miss wasn't great, but it becomes a positive when you show confidence, that your confidence isn't completely shot. I felt like the team dipped a little bit after that miss because there's so many fine margins in football. And against Manchester City, what we've learned is that you've got to take your chances when they come. And it felt like that was the beginning of the dip in their, you know, mini comeback in the game. But to not hide, there are a lot of players that miss chances and they go hiding. To not hide, to stand tall and to stay in the game, to fight. My God, he works. I feel like sometimes that guy's heart's going to burst from the fact that he just tries so hard, and maybe sometimes he tries too hard. But for me, it was a beautiful kind of moment, and I absolutely and totally loved it. So credit to Kai Havertz for playing an important role in showing that this Arsenal team has grit, it has belief, they didn't give up. This was a signature win, a massive message, not only to Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, to Liverpool, to the league. You know, it is not over yet. Is it going to be hard? Of course. Liverpool look amazing. They look like the best team in Europe right now. But we've just got to keep doing our thing and we've got to keep winning games, James. And I just want to skip right to it, because there's moments in football and moments in your football club where you see stars come through. And it's been nothing but a joy to see Bukayo Saka. And I was talking on the show the other day about how we always hope that Maitland-Niles, you know, Emile Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, Patino, so many players. And the standard was Saka. And that was the problem, right? The standard was set so high with Bukayo. I just don't even believe what I'm kind of seeing right now in to have one star come through in an era, to have two come through in an era, but to have three is like, wow. It just doesn't happen often in football. You know, Manchester United, Fergie Babes, the 92 squad. We always hoped that it was us with Jack Wilshere and, you know, those types of players, that core British base, not all Highlanders. But these players are balling. They're not hiding. They're showing. They're turning up. They're fearless. My mind is blown.
Yeah, Sophie, they're so good. I mean, midweek, he got bailed out by Nwaneri, you know, coming and saving the day in a game. And then again today, I know we were 2-1 up at the time, but that's always a risky scoreline. And you know what? Lewis Skelly and a friend of mine put it on Twitter, and I agreed with him. I'm like, he showed the experienced players what you need to do. Knuckle down, get in there, have a shot, see what happens. You know, go direct. Yeah, I couldn't understand why it's been a thing that's annoyed me all season with this team. I'm like, why do we have to be in an adverse position to start playing? They were there. They were there in the first half. This is the worst Man City that we've had come, and yet we were showing them far too much respect. I was like, go for the jugular, because they can't handle it. And look what happened when we stepped it up. We went and won 5-1. That's the standard, and that's that. We've done this against lesser teams and still not come out with a result. You know, Everton at home, that 0-0. You know, we've drawn far too many games where we've been so passive, but the talent's there, and these experienced players have to feed off these youngsters, because these youngsters they're up for it. They know what they're coming through, and they've grown up probably not even seeing Arsenal win trophies, and yet they're like, well, I'm not having that. I want to win things, and they're showing more ambition than senior internationals. So I'm like, you either feed in and get on board with that, or we're just going to end up in this permanent limbo of being, we were really close. We were really close. Well, let's step up and do something, because these two at the moment, I know why and where he didn't start today. I could see why he done that, because he wanted to be a bit more defensively cautious per se. And he was a great impact sub. I mean, look at the goal when he come on and he put 2 crosses in, which, my word, I'm like, what a. But I'm sorry, you've got to start him now. You can't put Nwaneri on the bench now. The talent's too high. He is another left-footed winger that can play on the right, and he can put the set pieces in. He scores goals. I'm like, I'm sorry, the kids are all right, in the words of the who sang that song? The kids are all. Was it the Who? I can't remember. Yeah, I'm like,
I think so.
I'm like, just back the kids. Back the kids. Because they're brilliant, Sophie.
They really are. They're so good. And I didn't have, I was too busy being everywhere to get a picture of Nwaneri ready. But I promise I'll have one for you tomorrow on the show with Clive Palmer. No doubt about that. And so I just went back to an old show. I found a couple of pictures where I'm talking about a lot. Is there a reason Arsenal aren't dipping into the January transfer market? Is, the emergence of Miles Lewis-Skelly, the emergence of Nwaneri as the option. You score 5 goals and, everyone's screaming for a goal scorer. Yes. But in the end, the team bagged 5 goals against what people are saying is one of the greatest managers we've seen in our time and the greatest teams we've seen in all time. I still think that we do need another striker, because
I'm looking down the lens of the camera. Your podcast is magical. People can manifest and say things, and things can come true from it. I'm looking down the lens of my camera now. If Ato, Kroenkes, Arteta, if any of them are watching, or someone who knows them that can get the message across, you've got love tokens galore today. Cash them in tomorrow and buy somebody of note, or loan somebody of note in, because the stock is high. So cash it, take it to the bank and buy this attacking player. I know today's been great, but Havertz is, the more and more he plays, the more and more you're going to run him in the ground. Get him some help. Declan Rice. I've never seen a time, Sophie, where players have also demanded signings. I've seen fans do it, and I've seen managers do it, but I've not seen players. Rice, Gabriel, others have come out. They've all said, get us, let's get someone else. Let's get some help, because it will lift them. It will boost them. I don't know who that's going to be, but please, if they're listening, if they're watching, do something, because like I said, the love tokens are high. We'll all go out tomorrow and we'll go buy new shirts with someone on it. You love merch drops, Arsenal. So this is the time. Go buy somebody and do it, because honestly, this is the best time.
I totally agree with you. And Jimmy, did I not just say we still need a striker? I'm giving the team credit where it's due. By the way, combined, our Arsenal and women's teams today scored 9 goals against Manchester City. It's a historical day, and Demian and Albert will be back for the Arsenal women's show to talk about that. That was an unbelievable match as well. It is a great day to be a Gooner. And yes, we do need a striker. And this is the opportunity I always talk about. In American sports, there's always a win now mentality, right? There's also salary caps and all sorts of different financial, strategies and compliances that teams have to adhere to. You got free agency and all sorts of different things. But I do feel like this is the win now moment. And, you know, some people say, well, they've got a game in hand. It could be 9 points. We don't know that. You don't know what the end is. Mikel always talks about the journey, right? But at some point, you've really got to have your eye on what the final destination is. Can't keep talking about the journey because eventually the train has to stop somewhere. There's always an end goal, an end destination.
We've been 11 clear and ended second. Liverpool last season were 8 clear and finished third. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But I do want to just focus on, because there's going to be plenty of time to talk about like transfer stuff tomorrow and everything. I do want to talk about how people were ready to kind of beat us with the Marmouche card. I felt that. I felt that was coming, right? And people will say this is the worst Manchester City team under Pep ever. You know, we're not allowed to make excuses for our performances because people will say, well, you've got Odegaard, you've got Saliba, you've got Gabriel, you've got Thomas Partey, They have a really good team, James. They've got really good players. And yes, some of them are aging. And you could say, well, De Bruyne can't even start. But they dipped into the market and they have Haaland, who scored his 250th goal as a professional footballer, which is mind-blowing, faster than Messi, faster than Ronaldo. So I am of the volition too, you can only play who is in front of you. And people were rumbling a little bit about City maybe, you know, coming back, showing signs. If there's a team that can go on a run, if there's a team that can kind of, you know, put the pressure on, breathe down Liverpool's necks, breathe down Arsenal's necks, it's this team. We absolutely bitch slapped them in that second half. And so for me, I don't want to hear like, well, they're the shittiest team ever. That wasn't the narrative before the game, James.
No, exactly. And, you know, we know what their fans are like and we know what the media are like. Sadly, they will pump out that narrative. I think a lot of it is to do with they've obviously got the credit in the bank with all the trophies that they have won. So people will go, well, they're allowed some sort of a slip due to everything that they've won in the past. But yeah, make no mistake about it. When it was 1-1, I bet there was a lot of senior writers, bloggers, whoever, that probably had to hit delete and erase on a lot of their articles tonight and write a new one.
Like I said, James, five thumbnails today.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure I still have it right because now I'm like, I got to get Waneri in there. Got to get, got to get Waneri in there somehow. Of all the things today, of course, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Waneri, the icing on the cake at the end. I thought that Thomas Partey had a really good game today, and he continues to kind of be this pickle of, we're going to let him go. There's, of course, the Jorginho.
Let him go. Don't renew him. It's another one. You know, at the moment.
Is it smoke and mirrors?
No, how he's doing, how he's playing. This is just an anomaly for him. He's not going to be this again. We've been burnt too many times where people have had a great, amazing little turnaround at a purple patch. We've given him a deal, and then look what happens. It will be like a Aubameyang all over again with him. Just let him leave into the sunset. If we can do something and win something, let him leave with that. There's no point renewing him because you're going to get someone like Zubamendi. If the rumors are true and we're getting Zubamendi, he's not going to play next season. You can have him as a squad player. He won't accept that. So there's no point even selling him because he's out of contract. But yeah, let him go because honestly, he isn't going to get any better. He isn't going to get any better than what he's doing now. So let him ride off into the sunset. But he was sublime today, and I've said it all season. I think he's been our best midfielder, and I know a lot of people will go, "Well, how are you saying he's been Arsenal's best midfielder? Why are you going to let him go?" Because I've seen it too many times with other players.
So I don't want to nitpick, but you know, maybe Mikel is looking at things, and he's a very stubborn guy, right? But in most of the games where he played Partey at right back, we had a lot of injuries. Timber was injured, but there were times where Timber could have played and Kivior could have played when he played Timber at centre back pairing when Saliba was out, right? And now I'm just nitpicking, but with that same token, Mikel could have played Waneri when Odegaard was injured. He's showing now that he's got the moxie to do that. I think going forward from here, as much as we want players to learn lessons, I really hope Mikel just keeps it simple. You know, today we played our best team, barring Saka, Calafiori, who's been really decent. Miles Lewis-Skelly has nailed that spot. Calafiori is not a starter unless there's an injury, or maybe, he'll play at centre-back if there's injuries. I just want him to keep it simple, James. Sometimes football is a simple game, and today was the perfect example of patient football, not kind of boring football. It felt like the strategy, everything about how he wants to play, the execution today was flawless, especially in the second half.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, it annoys me that it takes having to be punched in the nose for us to wake up. But when we did, yeah, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
Let me ask you this with Thomas Partey, because sometimes we talk about players that, who are you going to replace him with? The quality of player, right? It's the inconsistency with Thomas Partey, and I understand you talking about the Aubameyang thing. We've seen that happen to other players across the league. But that chemistry between Partey, Odegaard, and Rice, when it works, and generally it has done this season when Partey has been in midfield, I would argue that Rice is on I want to talk about him in a second, but Partey's been one of our best players this season. So it's a really big decision for the club, but it feels like it's one that might have been made already. So what kind of player comes in? Is it, where people talking about Zubimendi and, you got Mikel Merino, is he the future? I don't think he's the quality of Partey, James.
No. Oh, he's nowhere near. He's nowhere near. But yeah, Thomas Partey, for me, this team's going to move on from him. The age profile isn't correct. There's just certain stuff there, and I get that I'm being absolutely roasted in this chat. But I swear, yeah, and I'll take that on the chin. It's fine. But
I've been talking like too much, so
I'm telling you
this
now.
This guy compared him to who? Partey's not Oba. Okay, what?
he will. If we renew him and we give him an extra year next season, watch, because all these people will come back and they'll be slating him because at the moment he's just having an amazing season, which is fantastic. Fair play, like I said earlier, he's easily been Arsenal's best midfielder this season, easily. But let him go off into the sunset, honestly, because he will not. You are not going to get this level out of him even more. The older he gets, the slower he gets, the more he breaks down. It's not going to happen. Trust me, it's not going to happen. And we need to replace with younger and then better. And for me, Zubimendi is younger and better than him.
All right. That's James's opinion. If you disagree, let us hear it. If you're listening on replay, which many of you will be, let us know in the YouTube comments what you think about not only James's Thomas Partey comments, but also the victory against Manchester City today. It was emphatic. It was trouncing. It was beautiful. It was glorious. It was all of the superlatives. Just throw them all in there. Just get a dictionary out and pull them all out and make it a word salad and munch on it and enjoy it. Put extra dressing on it tonight as well. And then why not even pour yourself a little glass of vino if you don't drink? Then find yourself a nice refreshing beverage to wash down all of the wonders that was the performance against the Citizens today. It's been a long time coming. And here's what we didn't do. you know, in the latter years of Wenger, we didn't batter teams. We didn't, right? Mikel Arteta has had great results against the top 6 teams. They also showed this today, just when people want to kind of poo-poo on the team in the Premier League since the start of the 2022-23 season. You look at the wins, points, goals. The only stat there that we don't like is the PL titles. But it is undoubtedly the Arsenal that has been the most and biggest competitor to Manchester City. But that doesn't mean anything if it doesn't yield trophies. However, it does mean something, considering where we've been and where we've come from. And to have a result like this today, to perform like this today, to see Odegaard getting a goal again today, I thought that he had some popcorn value today. I thought that, you know, he was really in control together with Partey and Rice of that midfield. Midfield really wins games. And despite the miss, we've talked about Havertz, but having that moment, you know, and that comeback when he scored, I thought Trossard was very good today. I thought he was tenacious, didn't give up, you know, played really well. You had a seminal moment like this with Miles Lewis-Skelly, which was just unbelievable. And a player we haven't talked about yet, David Raya. What a save twice. Now, goalkeepers keep you in games, and I think it's underestimated too, James, how goalkeepers can win games. It was funny, I was talking on Tom's show on Friday night, and I continue to call myself out in how I got that so wrong with regards to quality, right? And it's not just like I think his shot stopping has actually improved. And I think maybe since there were a couple games, maybe it was Fulham, he wasn't as astute as he has been on kind of wide shots, passing him by. And maybe, you know, he's a little shorter than the most goalkeepers. But I think he started the season massive, was huge for us. He and Thomas Partey, I thought, were two of our best players. Went in a little bit of a dip, maybe when the team did. But talk about the importance of a goalkeeper. And it's the maturity level too. It's his composure on the ball. It's all of the things that I was absolutely wrong about that he is right for this team. Talk to me a little bit about David Raya and the role that he plays, not only in the game today, but also in the team in general.
Oh, I love him, Sophie. I have since he joined. I know that a lot was said when they made the change about how the players were really upset because of how much of a big character Ramsdale is in that dressing room. I think if you asked them now how many of them miss Ramsdale instead of Raya, I think none of them would say yes. He's a level above. He's a brilliant goalkeeper. I mean, the last week against Wolves, there was one where they pinged that long ball over the top, and he come out like a centre back and tackled it, and then I'm like, this is the difference. You know, this guy is a level above, and some of the saves he made today, yeah, fantastic. He's just such a calm and composed player.
Don't be disrupted. I can see you. You're disrupted by the live chat. Don't let that happen.
This guy's correct. He is correct. Yes. He's spot on. Yeah. No. He's spot on. Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, but this is the thing I own when I say stuff.
Like I just did about David Raya.
Deflect and go, but then a lot of you don't listen. That's the thing. And you're allowed to change your mind. This whole, you chat bollocks. I'm like, no, I said something in October and you're bringing it up now in February.
Well, I mean, this is what they do. This is their job, right?
Yeah. I appreciate it. It's fine. You know, like I said, people's tears hydrate me, so I'm good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Listen, other than the Havertz miss, I think when you're talking about player ratings, and I think everybody today was a man of the match, but then you just go one level above and give a super man of the match. And today, for me, even though, again, a player that sometimes just works in the shadows. People might kill me for even suggesting this, but I don't know if he's the Superman of the match, but Declan Rice has found his form again. Declan Rice has kind of rejuvenated himself. A little bit of a rest. Didn't start off the season well, totally exhausted. Played a lot of games for England, played a lot of games last season. You could tell he was a player that really wore the loss of, the potential of winning the Premier League title majorly on his sleeve. I mean, this guy is finding form at the same time. So I know like a lot of people want to hand out the award to Thomas Partey already as our best midfielder, but there's still a long way to go. And I have a feeling when come May, that is going to twist, that's going to turn, and Declan Rice will be kind of up there with one of our players of the season. His importance to this team, his engine, his delivery. I thought today he was absolutely flawlessly working in the shadows. Other players took the limelight, but James, he is so important and he's found his form at the perfect time.
Yeah, it's amazing that, like people saying here, they keep their receipts. Well, I remember half of this chat back at the start of the season talking about how he was washed and how, I can't believe we spent all that money on him. So, as much as I can take, I'll also give back. He's a fantastic player. He's an absolutely fantastic player, Declan Rice. And like you said, he will have a say before the end of this season in terms of who our best player is. I mean, this is what I like, Sophie. At the end of a match, you could throw it up there now and go, "Oi, chat, who do you think was man of the match today?" And you're getting different names. Whereas before, you just get one, because it was only one player that would save us every single time. Now there's a variety. That's what I like the most. You could have a conversation, like you said, we can have a conversation about how many people are man of the match today, because some will say Raya, some might say, I think Gabriel because he did this. Some might say, Saliba because of this. I thought Timber looked a bit shaky at the end of the first half. Second, brilliant, especially with Marmoush. Like you said, that's a tricky player coming into the league, wants to show himself. I thought he did all right against Marmoush and Savio out there today.
Yeah, so I thought we silenced Marmoush.
Yeah. And one thing as well, you mentioned Trossard earlier. Can I ask you, Soph?
Yeah.
And I don't want to whinge. I really don't want to whinge. How does Bernardo Silva get away with kicking him like that on the floor?
I'm so happy.
I was baffled.
I'm so happy that today we're not talking about referees and VAR. I really am. I mean, of course, that was garbage officiating.
I mean, I don't like bringing them up when we win 5-1, but I'm like, how is this?
No, it's okay to bring them up. And even the Odegaard barge, right? Lee Dixon, who is no nonsense. He's like, he's always like, get up. He didn't even touch you. Come on, lad. And he's like, that's a foul. Like Odegaard, I think, made the most of it, but that was a clear foul. So I'm just happy that we are not having to talk about the consequences of officiating today. I actually think the game moved quite smoothly. And I fear that if the Oliver incident didn't happen last week, I think he would have been the referee in this match.
100%.
So I thought Peter Banks did a good job, and this is how it should be. We're not at the time we were all like, oh my God, that's such a garbage call, but we're not really talking about him. And I think that's really refreshing. Hasn't happened in a long time. And certainly we've had a bit too much of that this season.
We'll wait for Wednesday.
What about 200 of you in live chat? Kiss, lick, like, headbutt. I tell you, Super Kev would have loved today. He would have absolutely loved this result. And it's really funny because I text Kyle Campbell yesterday and I'm like, hey, you all right? It's about time you came back to the show. We exchanged messages. I'm going to send him a little message when we end here. I wonder if he will show up. I have a feeling that he might just do that. But yeah, today's the kind of game and day where you just can't help but think about Super Kev. He would have just been absolutely loving this. And the other thing I think that, we're all kind of I'm really happy for Mikel Arteta today. Like the student and the master narrative got a little bit tired and boring and lazy. but I'm really happy for him today. And James, I just want you to let me know what you think about Mikel, the team selection, the subs. Did we even make any subs? Yeah, we did. No, I'm just joking. It was just one of those euphoric matches. Yeah, tell me about game management, how he approached it, your thoughts on Mikel today. For me, he gets a 100 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of, especially, I was one of them. I couldn't believe that Namweri wasn't starting, but I could understand why. And then, like I said earlier, we get put in a diverse situation, and that's when we come alive and started playing. And I don't know if that's an instruction from him or if that's something these players do on their own. But then, you got to take it by the scruff of the neck, and Party has the shot deflected. Who cares? Right after they score, best time to score. And yeah, he got the result, and I'm really, really happy for him. And like I mentioned earlier, now give him the help that he needs tomorrow. Just buy that player. I know people all the time go, "Oh, it's just transfers. It's just transfer." Yes, because it's that important. It is that important. There is no one else to help lighten that load up front.
Yeah. Before I'm going to finish on that, but before we do, I also just wanted to. So I talked about Trossard. We talked about Havertz. I thought Martinelli had a quiet game, but a very professional, mature performance. Really didn't have to be the star today again.
Offside though, Sophie. Honestly, I think sometimes I'm like, he come out of his mum offside. This guy. It's every time. It's so irritating.
That was a lovely finish, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm like, you've got this in your locker, but you're always offside. Yeah,
it was such a good finish. It was such a shame. Yeah, yeah. And Timber, again, just solid. Gabriel and Saliba. Haaland did nothing. I mean, when he scored, I'm like, damn it, why did we even let him get that goal? Because he was in their pockets for most of the game. He had, 2 touches before he actually scored that header. But I do want to talk about Waneri coming on and getting the wonder goal, because I didn't have it on my bingo card that Miles Lewis-Skelly would be the HALE superstar this season. I think we all had it on our bingo card. Waneri's the one everyone's been talking about. I talked about seeing them in the States and how mature they are. It doesn't surprise me that they're doing really well. But for him to kind of come on, because all the talk is about Miles Lewis-Skelly and how he's the starter, whereas Waneri hasn't really nailed his spot in a starting 11, right? And the mentality that kid has to have to kind of have been the narrative for so long. Now he's seeing he's one of his best mates become the narrative this season. And yet Champions League goal, cut, paste, Saka. This goal, cut, paste, Saka. I mean, to have these moments, and I love that maybe he can quietly go about his business, James. Your thoughts on the mental part of it, and maybe thinking like Mikel, is he the man? Isn't he the man? Showing the confidence to Miles Lewis-Skelly, but nailing it when he's been given his opportunity, which is what Mikel loves to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 very contrasting positions. I mean, I can see why he still keeps the experience on the wing as opposed to starting Namweri, but I think the proof's in the pudding. And the guy's just undoubtable, isn't he? Like, what does he get fazed by?
Neither of them get fazed by anything. It's like insane.
Exactly. It's the confidence level is absolutely through the roof. I mean, Foden's no slouch, player of the year last year. Look at the way Lewis-Skelly. I mean, there was a point in that game with Lewis-Skelly where he's doing that with Haaland, like trying to lynch over his back, and he's just completely like, "You're not getting the ball, mate. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how strong you are." And when I went up there, you asked who I was. He's like, "Do you know who I am now?" Especially after I've scored and done your celebration as well. That's another thing. That was brilliant. That's why Lewis-Skelly's man of the match for me. People will go, "Oh, is it on a football?" Just based on that purely, he gets man of the match. It was an amazing moment from him to stick, the proverbial 2 fingers back up at Erling Haaland. But yeah, both of them, but sticking on Namweri, like you said, cut and paste Saka, cut and paste Saka. Whilst he's out, give me the thing that's the closest to him. And I know Trossard's coming back in. I know Martinelli hasn't been dreadful out on that right-hand side, but stick him in as well.
Yeah.
Because how can you keep doubting goals like this? He's coming in and slapping in worldies. You've got to play him.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's really unbelievable. People think it's not easy to come into this team, wear that badge, and have all the expectations, and to perform and score goals like that. You're absolutely right, James. It's amazing. And I wanted to finish on Miles Lewis-Skelly and dark hearts and balls. This team has lacked bravado, and for the last 2 seasons, between Benjamin White, Gabriel, Kai Havertz, and now a Haaland coming in, fearless, to score the goal he did, which, by the way, the approach to the goal, let alone the finish, was unbelievable. And then to have the balls to do this and mimic, arguably, the most prolific goal scorer in the world right now is just joyous to watch. I could look at this photo all day long. And the team here, this moment is just brilliant. This is what we've wanted Arsenal Football Club to be. Not only to compete, right? And we won't forget, but of course we want to win the Premier League title, Champions League and stuff. We were a broken team where we had players like Mustafi and Babastadopoulos and Ozil, who seemed, Babastadopoulos wasn't, Socrates wasn't as apathetic as Mustafi or Kolasinac and Ozil. And I'm not just saying that because he's Greek. He did seem to put in an effort. But we've been craving players who care, players who do not show apathy, players who are engaged, players who have the ability to compete, to never give up, to believe, to be together, to fight for each other, to show leadership. And James, like Miles Lewis-Skelly doing that is, for me, one of the images of the season, whether we win the title or not, right? What's lost in the modern game are these kind of moments. It's almost become robotic in many, many ways. You want players to have a little of the creativity, the pizzazz, the nutmegging, the going at each other, and this rivalry that we've developed with Manchester City, and the stay humble and the memes. I love all of it. That's what sports is about. And for him to do this is going to live forever as a meme, as an image. And the fact that a young player has the confidence to do that says a lot about Mikel Arteta, how he's managing him, how he's coaching him, this team, how they are together, what they talk about in training, his own belief that, I'm going to do that now because I'm pretty confident we've won this game. But there's so many reasons why it's not just a photograph. It's a photograph that tells a lot of different stories. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to, I don't know how badly you want to go deep into this. I'll try and summarize it as quick as I can. So if we're pressed for time, but first and foremost, do you mind pulling it up again? Sorry, I know it sounds bad. But
which one do you want? You want this one? You want that one?
That's the one. That's the one. Look at all of them around him. They're all in awe at what he's doing in the best possible way. They're all like laughing, going, "That's absolutely brilliant." Like, not only what you've done on the pitch is brilliant, but that celebration, because they were out there at the Etihad. They all saw that. I mean, how much of a team talk did we really have to do before the game today, other than let's shut him up? A bit like when he got sent off last week at halftime. I reckon all they had to do was, right, win this for him because that's an injustice, and let's stick 2 fingers up at Oliver. That was the same sort of principle. Stick 2 fingers up at Haaland, boys. And we didn't stick 2 up, we stuck 5 up. So, but there's so many. The thing is, we can talk about iconic Arsenal photos. I mean, I've got this background behind me. I've got stuff here that I was always going to drill and put up. I've never got the time to do it. I've got Tony Adams against Everton with the arms out. I've got Ray Parlour when he scores against Chelsea in the cup final because I was there with my dad and we just had one of the best days. Overmars against Newcastle 98. I've got that one. You know, there's the one of Ian Wright when he scores against Bolton, lifting the shutter. This could go down. If we had the trophies, like you said, it's already one of the most iconic moments. This will go down as one of the big photo. You know, I know I'm 33, but for this next generation that's never seen us win anything, this could be, like I'm talking to you now, this could be their Tony Adams arms out against Everton. This is such a special photo. And I know people are like, oh, Arsenal beg it with all the pictures with the cameraman and everything. This is such an iconic picture that I pray that we win something, because it deserves to be, it will always be remembered, but it deserves to be remembered in a season where we do something as well. Like if we kick on from here and win the Premier League, that will be one of the most incredible pictures that we have. It really will. And again, it's like you always say when people come on here, I know it's football, but there's the storytelling element and there's the emotional element. And that's the stuff I love as well. I love the story and I love the emotion. And that will really, really go down as such an iconic picture. It's already incredible, but it will become such an iconic picture. Trust me, if we go and add something to it. Hell, I might even print one and stick one up behind me myself.
Listen, you got the chat box loving you now. Do you see
the
little flip-floppers?
I'm running around.
And I think we'll end it
Parents
right there.
always said you'd be a politician one day, James. You can bring them back.
I dropped the mic moment from you and agree totally with what you said. And thanks for jumping in. We were WhatsApping and I'm like, listen, let's stop the WhatsApping. Just come join me for the post-game show and let's wax lyrical. And you were so excited about the performance. You were like, Soph, you know what? This is so amazing. I may just have to. And I love that fans today have the bragging rights. You know, we know what's coming down the road. We know we've got to keep this up. But there are some moments where you just want to focus on today. And today we have the bragging rights. We've been the dartboard. We've been the butt of people's jokes. We've been the clickbait crew. They've thrown everything at us. It's Arsenal against everyone. And some days you just take what they give you and you also just take, you know, whatever you can from having those bragging right moments. And today's one of those. So enjoy it, Arsenal fans. Be positive. Tomorrow is another day. The window closes and let's see what will happen, James. I know you've made it clear, you know, bringing someone in. We've talked about it on this show as well, about a striker. It can't just be another body. It has to be a body that takes us up a level and closes those fine margins and helps us, you know, go on a run, because we can't afford to lose. We've got to keep going on a run. But God, if they can have this team spirit and play this way, anything is possible. And of course, you're relying on Liverpool to go through their adversity as well. So weirder things have happened in football. James, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, if I've won them back round with the speech, yeah, at LL Cool James 91 on Twitter, and then all my links are in there if you want to come and watch on my own channel as well. Even if you want to come and watch and, you know, call me names, I'll take that as well. I'll take what I can get. You know, I'm under 300 subscribers, so I'll take what I can get. I'll have you good, I'll have you bad. Either way, we'll chat. That's what
Go give James a follow and a subscribe. Lucas Hurd, who's one of the nicest Manchester City fans I know, listens to the show and we interact on old social media as well. Thank you, Lucas, as well. And then, of course, there's Navi. When was the last time you won the league title? We're very well aware. But you know what? We'll take this day and we'll enjoy the bragging rights. The show returns live tomorrow with Clive Palmer around 5 p.m. UK time. Stay tuned to the community page for the link and all of that jazz. And we've got some other top shelf stuff coming up this week. And then we go on a little bit of a break, the Arsenal, which is well needed. This team needs some rest. And I think everyone will welcome that.
Can the podcasters go to Dubai as well, Sophie? Are we allowed a break?
He's no, we're not. By the way, I think he means James, but he's called you Jane.
I've been called much worse this evening. So to be fair, the long hair confuses people. I know the beard's there as well, but yeah, I know that's fine. I got called much worse than Jane earlier, so it's fine.
Brilliant stuff. Well, listen, go enjoy yourself, squaddies. Share the show, please, as much as you can with your fellow Arsenal fans. And we'll see you tomorrow with Clive Palmer from Arsenal Vision. Until then, don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. And I tell you something, we love this football club. No matter what, have a good evening at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
James, sorry. Big win. End stream now.